Hey guys, Sean Bougie here. So I get a lot of people that ask me what are some other techniques or tricks or alternative methods for finding people, skip tracing. And, obviously having a really good subscription service. Right now we like microbilt.com, and you can get if you call them Microbilt, MICROBILT.com, their phone number's on there. If you call them and ask for Randy Mostetler, I believe it is, and tell them Sean Bougie sent you, you're great at good company. They'll waive the setup fee, and it's a great service. Right now we're also using IDI, and I like that a lot. It doesn't give you regulated information like social security numbers, but so far, this is the first week we've used it, so far the names and addresses are coming up pretty darn good, and we're getting some hits that aren't just weird hits, they're accurate hits that we were not getting on some other of the skip tracing services we had. So having a good system works, like that. I'm going to make a kind of an odd recommendation here for a lot of you guys. You're going to think I'm crazy because we always made fun of the Radaris and all this, bin verified and all those guys. Well, their information is getting better. However, I like White Pages, premium White Pages, whitepages.com. The reason I like it is their reverse search feature. And the reason I say that is one of the tricks when you look at what the address was that got foreclosed on. Well, if the people were renting it and you use a reverse search by address, you can find the renters oftentimes. Even after it's foreclosed, if the renters are in there, if an investor bought it, sometimes they'll actually keep the people. Or it's a family member. Anyway, it's somebody that knew the person or may very well have contact information. So the White Pages reverse lookup works. Obviously you want a subscription service too, but the White Pages reverse lookup has been a heck of a lot more powerful than I thought it was going to be. Now let's get a little more in depth here. Ancestry.com does also help, obviously. Also look at the deeds, guys. You got to research the debt that was against the property and the ownership of the property prior to the sale anyway. So look closely on that deed, because in addition to having the situs address or the physical address, if there was an actual property there, it will also have a mailing address for the owner, which if it's different, that's a great thing to check with the subscription service or to mail to, because even if they lost it, if they were an investor and they lost that property, if it was a family property that they lost, that other address, the notification address or the mailing address, may actually, on that deed, may help you. Also, depending on how you do it, some of the courts may actually give you the addresses of where they sent notification trying to reach this person, and they may have an address on there that you didn't. The tax rolls may also have, if you look it up on taxes, you can usually look up in most counties the previous owner's information in their tax card, and if there is a different notification address on there than the situs or physical address of the property that got foreclosed on, now you've got even more information. Those are great techniques. Now let's get into some wild stuff. All right, first of all, you're gonna go to pacer.gov, pacer.gov, and get an account on there. And let me tell you what, that is going to give you access to all the bankruptcy courts, okay? And bankruptcy courts are regional. I believe there's 90 some of them in the United States, so it's averages to a state, per state. Those courts, keep all the records of anybody that ever went into bankruptcy, including those people that didn't actually follow through. Let me tell you why that's a big deal when you are trying to go after property pre-tax sale, flipping property, or you're going after overages. That's a big deal because a lot of people try to stop the foreclosure process by going into bankruptcy, starting it, and not actually going through with it. Well, when they start that process, they give a lot of information to the bankruptcy court, and that's available on pacer.gov. All those court documents are public record, and you can check it on there. Also, they have to list creditors. And if it's a mom and pop creditor or someone that has a judgment against them or so forth, that's an individual, there's a really good chance they're going to know them personally. So that's another thing you could pursue. Okay, so you've got the White Pages reverse lookup. You got obviously looking at subscription services, but the premium White Pages reverse lookup is really is staggeringly powerful. Ancestry.com, pretty good. Then you look at the deed and also the tax rolls to see if there's a different notification address. Also, if you have access to the court records of that foreclosure online, you can look up sometimes they will give you notification addresses. Actually, copies of the tags they use, because they use certified mail, can sometimes be included in there. That's a great way to start. Also, the bankruptcy is that's a great technique, guys. And let's face it, a lot of people that get in financial trouble, or they've lost a house, also go into personal bankruptcy. Besides the guys that go into personal bankruptcy to stall it, there's people that actually go through it. So that's good to know. There's another technique here, and this is going to probably surprise a lot of you guys. Shoot, sorry, I'm running out of road here while I'm trying to make my turn. Anyway, another great technique, if you're working with an estate. Now, let me preface this. When everybody on that deed has died, if we don't have a reason to believe that there was a will, or that there was an executor and the probate or estate was actually closed out, we're not going to go after that. We're just not. And the reason is it's too difficult. Everyone lies. They'll lie about being an heir. They'll lie about they're the only heir. They'll lie about them being the executor. They'll lie about the will was made out to them. Then when you call them on the carpet, you blow all this time, money, and effort, and it's for nothing. So that's something to remember, guys, is we typically don't go after estates. However, if one of the persons is deceased and the other one isn't, and he died prior to the auction, well, I'll go into more in depth, I'm sorry, on that on a different video. But let's assume one of them died, and you're looking for the other person. Well, if they were both on that deed, they were pretty close to begin with, even if they weren't family, guys. If it was two people, it might have been a boyfriend, girlfriend, two boyfriends, whatever. Two people that know each other and wanted to have both their names on that deed to protect each other. Having said that, if you can get a death certificate, if one of them died, there's a line on death certificates. And by the way, it depends on the state. Death certificates are either filled out in the county in which the person lived or the county in which they died. If it's different counties, okay? But so it might be a different county than the property was listed in if they didn't live in it, or depending on the state statute. Having said that, there's a line in when you look at that death certificate, informant. Now, about half the time, there is no informant. Okay? Nobody actually shows up for the body. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. The other half of the time, however, somebody will show up and say, yes, that's the person. I found him. He's my friend, whatever. I'm saying that's the guy. That's the informant saying that. That means the informant is a good, close family friend. That's somebody you want to contact, even if you're trying to go after somebody else on the deed, because they knew the person that died, so they probably knew the other person on the deed as well. And they were the informant. They cared enough to show up. So, and I know this is kind of morbid, but these are techniques and tricks that actually work. I've had a couple of people tell me some great things they did to get a hold of people, but the last thing I'm going to tell you about, and there's certainly more tips and tricks, is offer money. If you get a hold of a family member, guys, you don't want to just contact the claimant or the owner. You want to contact family members and friends or associates too, in the hopes that one of them is going to be a gatekeeper and wants to be in their business. There's always an Aunt Margaret or whatever that wants to be in everybody's business, and offer them money. Say, look, if you can get me in touch with that person, have them call me or give me their information. If you can do that, and I end up working out a deal, I'll give you whatever you want to offer them, guys, $250, whatever. But it's got to work out. So that's great, because now you have them on your side, and they're going to push for them to call you because they're hoping to make some money. It's just a great trick. We've done that quite a bit, and I've paid quite a bit. I've paid quite a bit of those bounties for being able to get in touch with people and putting a deal together. Hope this helps. Have a great night.